Good afternoon. Welcome to FND Student-Led IEP, Family Network on Disabilities. I'd like to take a moment and welcome you today. It is such a joy for you to be here with me today as we talk about student-led IEPs. Just let me introduce myself. My name is Kipwana Wright. I am here under dual hats today, first as a professional who has worked with families with children with disabilities for over 20 years, but also as a parent with children with disabilities. And so a little bit about my journey is that it was from a conversation that I had with another parent as we talked about some of the challenges our children with disabilities were having. Well, at the time, I did not know, or even I don't think I processed, or I was in denial that my daughter had a disability. And so from the conversation, though, as this mother began to tell me about some of the challenges she was facing with her child's education, the progress, and the responses from the teachers, it really mirrored a lot of my own experiences that I was having with my child. And so it was from that conversation that I decided to get my child evaluated. And then we were plunged into the special education process. And so, but through going through the process, not only did I learn to advocate for my child, but I also helped her to navigate the special education process as well, and for her to advocate for herself. And so that's what FND is all about, is parents helping other parents. So just a little bit about who we are. We are a nonprofit organization helping families all across the state of Florida. We are funded in part by the Department of Education, providing information, resources, and supports to families, educators, just like yourself, who are looking to help understand the special education process here in Florida. The Family Network on Disabilities, or FND, is a national network of individuals of all ages who may be at risk, have disabilities, have special needs, and their families, professionals, and concerned citizens. It was founded in 1985 by a group of parents of children with disabilities who came together looking for mutual support and information sharing. FND is a grassroots organization, and their families and our organization is family-centered and family-driven. And that's the thing that makes our organization so unique. The majority of our board members are all of our program staff and our family members or parents of children with disabilities. So let's talk about what we do not do. Okay, we are not attorneys. We are not doctors. We do not interpret the law. Nothing that we share in any of our webinars can be taken as medical or legal advice. But we are happy to share with you evidence-based materials and resources from federal agencies and other agencies that have been vetted. And so we are very happy to share this information with you so that our parents are well equipped and informed as they are going through the special education process. So let's talk about data today. and student involvement in IEP meetings. Okay, this is a source from the National Longitudinal Transition Study 2, or NLTS 2. It was a study from the U.S. Department of Education, Office of Special Education, and the Institution of Education Sciences, um, as a follow-up of an original national longitudinal study. The original NLTS was designed and conducted by SRI International for OSEP, which is the Office of Special Education Programs, in 1985 through 1993. The NLTS2 includes 11,270 youth nationwide who were ages 13 through 16 at the start of the study in 2000. Information was collected over 10 years from parents, youth, and schools to provide a national picture of the experience and achievements of young people as they transition into early adulthood. The study described the characteristics of secondary education, secondary school youth in special education and their households. It described the secondary school experiences of youth in special education, including school and school programs, related services, and extracurricular activities. The study describes the experiences of the youth once they leave secondary school, including adult programs, services, and social activities, etc. The study measures the secondary school and post-school outcomes of youth in education, employment, social, and residential domains. It identifies factors in youth's secondary school and post-school outcomes. This pie chart is divided into 4 slices representing the involvement of students in IEP meetings. The largest slice is a green. Or well, is blue. I'm sorry. The largest slice is blue. It is labeled 57.7% and represents students who attend meetings and provided some input. The next slice, which makes up 24.6%, is red. It represents students who attend but provide little to no input. The next slice of the pie chart, which represents 12.2%, is kind of a gray. This slice shows that students who attend their meetings provide significant input and take a leadership role in the planning process. The smallest slice, which is a light blue of 5.5%, representing students who do not attend meetings and who therefore provide no input. The planning process can be tedious for parents, students, and educators. The student-led IEP should begin with the student taking over the role as facilitator for the meeting and the LEA or LEA as the meaningful support. But it can be kind of scary for them. And this is an opportunity for parents to start small. Okay. Uh, Start with parent teacher conferences, meetings, where the student is in charge of the agenda. So there's an opportunity here to give them a little bit of responsibility over something small, again, like the agenda or what needs to be discussed. We have provided handouts that will assist in creating a meeting agenda, and you can find that on our website. The planning process organizes the thoughts that will help them accomplish their goal. And so when you go to the website and you are able to get some of that information, there will be some information there that will help them to think about some of the some of the aspects of the meeting that they would like to discuss. And these writing prompts will help them to create a list of things that they would like to discuss in the meeting. Okay. And so it will help them to think about what they would like to accomplish, what those goals are, and what it would take for them to get there. So get your team on board. Team means together, everyone achieves more. And so the first question to ask is, who is on your team at home and at school? It's the best place to start by identifying what person is on your team. How can I trust them? Can they help? How can they help? What can they bring as an input to helping the student to lead the IEP meeting and to be the facilitator? Speaking of the team, getting the team on board, again, start small. Start with something, start by talking with your parents about what you believe, what you believe your needs are or wants are in your education process. And so it's important to, even as we are parents, to help our children to be able to feel comfortable asking, telling what they need, help them to understand what their needs are, and to be able to articulate those needs. And so as youth are being the facilitator, if the youth gets nervous in front of others, speaking in front of others, or you parents can record. They can sit down and do a Zoom and record the Zoom. They're help the student to find workarounds so that they are comfortable, but also so that they are able to be able to give their voice to the IEP meeting. Allow there to be a review between the parent and the student, and to talk about some of the things and help them to make some of their wants and needs more clear if there's a little bit of obscurity there. And to accept honest feedback from those who love and care about you most. From there, you can schedule a meeting with your IEP team and your guidance counselor, teachers, to help build up this meeting. Try to get buy-in from the principal about how to support this meeting. Some of the questions you can ask those on your team is, does the student know what the different areas of the IEP are and why they are important? How can the student guide us through the different areas of the IEP meeting? Are we explaining this to the student and the parent in a friendly, easy way and language? Or are we just talking to the parent, leaving the student out, or talking over or past the student? So we really want to take and guide these things to the student directly. What leadership role can the student have in each section of the IEP meeting? As you move through the different areas, goals, objectives, how can the student lead the conversation? We can start by something as this simple chart, getting to know the student. We can uh, help them to do this self-assessment, which helps verbalize who they are, what their interests are, what their preferences are, some of their needs. You can utilize this to which you can create this as a tool. Um, and it helps really to describe some of the needs that the student has and where they want to go. Take this assessment with your team and talk about it together or at home. Another tool is a life course tool that may help break out each component of the educational process uh, and your community life. If you feel if you feel more confident about making a video, that then make a video that addresses your strengths and a little bit about who you are and what area you strive to live in. Maybe adding a picture helps make this IEP meeting more personal. Doing something, a video clip of doing things that you may enjoy. There are so many ways to make this IEP meeting your own. So the student, if you are a parent or a guardian, it will be very important for you to define your role prior to going into this IEP meeting. Discuss with your child what you intend to do while you are in this meeting. For example, hey, I'm going to be right here in the meeting for you. Uh, just in case you get stuck, I'm right here. And if you ask everyone if they can take a small break because you might be stuck, or you might need to gather your thoughts, we can do that. That way you can go outside and practice your strategies and calm down and regroup. See, that is a great way to help the child or the student to feel empowered in this meeting, knowing that the student is out there leading, but the parent is right there, like, I have your back. My hand is on your back. I'm right here. And so if you establish these roles as a helper in this meeting, it just, you may be the person that they might pass the documents to, or you might be the one who might define some of the terms that the student might not understand, or help to bring clarity to some of the uh, comments or suggestions that the rest of the team may have. So just by defining your role as the helper in this, will be very helpful before you go into this meeting. You might ask questions, parents might ask questions like, are you talking to your student about interests on a regular basis? Does your child take a learning strategies class? If so, how can they learn self-determination in that classroom environment? Can you practice at home leading the IEP meeting? So this is an opportunity to maybe do role play with maybe 4 or 5 other people sitting there, and giving them a chance to share their likes, dislikes, things that they want, their goals, personal preferences. Can you add time to help your student make an about me chart? What does support look like to you as a parent? Are there ways to give varying levels of support? Are you ready to let your student try to thrive or try to lead on their own? And I just think that is so important. As parents, we have to take evaluation sometimes of how we feel about our children leading this process. And I think that then helps us to understand if we have given our students all of the tools they need to be self-sufficient, self-determined, and to be leaders in this aspect of their lives. And another question you can ask is, can you recap from the student's perspective or from your own perspectives after the meeting when you get home in the car? And so those are great times to talk about what happened and do a recap in the car while everything is fresh. You know, when we get home, we can talk about and make a list of things that that student wanted to say but didn't say, and how they can then incorporate those things that they wanted to say into the next meeting or into their video. If you are a parent or guardian, it will be very important for you to define your role prior to going into the IEP meeting. Discuss with your student what you intend to do while you are in this meeting. If you establish your role as the helper in this meeting, the person who will pass out documents or anything, then it is important to not deviate from that role. So that part isn't very, very important, not to deviate from the role. And sometimes it might be kind of difficult as we see our child stumbling or, trying to gather themselves through the meeting, through the facilitation. It's still important for us to maintain our position as the helper and not jump out and say, okay, now I'm going to lead the meeting. Okay. Again, like we stated earlier, this might be a time to say, hey, we're going to take a break. And you might go and help your child to write down some of the things that they said they were going to speak about. So you might help your student to write out a few notes and have some notes there that they go off of. And so, but it is very important for parents that once you have allowed the student to lead the IEP meeting, that you stay in your role as the helper of the facilitation, and not when they are fumbling or may have lost their words, jump in and start to lead. As an educator, It will be important to sit down with your student and discuss their strengths in the most convenient way, responding to their individual needs. Hopefully, the student and the teacher would have had the opportunity to meet outside of the IEP meeting before it happens. Reviewing areas of concern between the teacher and the student prior to the meeting can be very helpful and should be accomplished outside where there's no pressure, it's not humiliating, it's not the student being bombarded or piled on with a lot of information in real time. And so to do these things prior to the meeting will be most helpful, and it will help the student to think through some of the process. And so teachers can help their students by spending time observing the student, by collecting data that they need that accentuates their strengths and not just their weaknesses, to talk to the student about his or her parents and his and her parents about their observations prior to the meeting, to come up with ideas of accommodations that may work well in the classroom, and to practice with the students how to uh, talk in front of people. Break down all the parts of the IEP with the student in advance as a practice exercise, and debrief the student and the parents after the meeting. So in the meeting, each member has a significant role that is needed for the student-led IEP meeting and for it to be a success. The student is the most important. They are the lead. They are the self-advocate. The parent can provide insight and assist in the planning. Teachers provide the insight and help the students build and guide them as they are planning the meeting. Guidance counselors or inclusion teachers help provide support with in the educational setting, along with the administrators. The most important thing to know is to keep calm and debrief. After the meeting, organize a review at least a day later, a wrap up while it is still fresh. Review any materials you received and decide with your parents what you need to keep, what you need to shred, discard, get rid of. Review the IEP while the meeting is still fresh in your memory. Work with your parents to contact the school in writing if there are any clarifications or corrections that are needed. Note any suggestions you have about how to improve the meeting, the goals, or the data. It's important, and they want to hear from the student. Write a thank you letter or thank you emails to the team, letting them know that you appreciate their hard work and coming together and to help make this all a success. Also, you can write letters asking for clarification of any concerns or questions or anything that you may have overlooked. So you don't have to worry, oh, I forgot to mention this. Now we have to wait, or now I don't get to have that. That's not necessarily true. You can write an email to your team and ask them to consider this or consider that. I overlooked this. And you can still share that information with your team. Key points to assist, and remember, don't forget a pen and pencil or paper. Now most phones have recordings on them. And so use things that will help, even assistive technology that will help you to remember the meeting and to take notes yourself. Arrive as early as you can. Again, thank your team members and parents for coming and agreeing to come together and share. Make introductions. Ask who is taking meeting notes, because it's important to have the memory of the meeting. Review the IEP meeting agenda. Add from your notes or things that you want to talk about. Share ideas, opinions, and feelings throughout the meeting. Listen carefully to what is being said. Remember, sometimes, especially when there are things that we might not agree upon, we tend to talk, listen to respond versus listening to hear. Monitor your nonverbal communications. Fix your face. Open your arms. Avoid sound effects. Request a brief break if you or someone else needs one. An effective IEP meeting is not characterized by unanimous agreements, but by the plans that are driven by the data and by the compromise. Okay, so we have to sometimes change our metron of things and what makes it perfect or what makes it successful. 15 minutes before the meeting ends, check to see if if everyone's concerns have been addressed. Make sure the IEP is clear. The wording throughout the IEP can be understood by everyone. Understand what you are responsible to do for your IEP meeting and sign your IEP. Your signature on this does not mean that you absolutely agree, but your signature there then means that you were there, okay? And so if you disagree with any part of your IEP, you can state your concerns and you can ask for the IEP to be revisited. And again, thank your team and make sure you have a copy of your IEP. Ongoing engagement. A new IEP is a new beginning. Stay connected throughout the year. Participate in any data collection. How can you collect data? How can you share it with people who should know? What ideas do you have about your goals? Communicate with your teachers, your coaches, related service providers, all instructional staff. Ask questions, stay engaged, and communicate. This is your future. This has to do with you. Your school team is here to help you. So let your school team know what you need. How you need, you might have to get new equipment or something like that. Just be comfortable with communicating with your team and letting them know what you need or what works best for you. Knowledge is power, and that's something I want to leave with you today. You all are to work together in this IEP process. It takes a team. And so together, you are able to you know, dissolve any problems or to be able to communicate anything that might be blocking you from having what you feel you need, or um, being able to ask what you feel you need, and to get the supports that you feel you need. Figure out what that looks like and what data you need to share with your team to help them to fulfill your educational goals. Well, that's all I have for you today about the student-led IEP. You can find us on social media on Facebook, on Instagram and Twitter. You can visit us and receive and get a bunch of resources off of our website at fndusa.org. And so we love to hear from you. So thank you for joining me here today.